Quirky, fun, versatile, practical, and now electrified. Say hello to the new third generation Mini Countryman, and in today's video I'm going to give you an in-depth walkthrough and review of this premium electric crossover. My name is Tariq Azmi and this is caricarzcom. Okay, the new third generation Mini Countryman actually shares the same bones and platform as the BMW iX1, but evidently, as you can see, Mini's redux in terms of its styling is a lot more quirky, a lot more distinct. We'll get into details to which later on. I just want to highlight quickly that for the Malaysian market, the third generation Countryman comes in two forms, ICE or all-electric. We have the latter here, which is offered solely in Countryman Cooper SE trim. So the new third generation Countryman hasn't just grown slightly in size, it's also grown a lot in terms of style, and in the case of the Malaysian spec Countryman Cooper SE, it gets treated with the favourite trim for its exterior, and it adds both touches of modern retro looks with a slight hint of ruggedness. My favourite touches here include the gloss black inserts, plus this very nice decorative skid plates. I will also add that you will find that because it's electric, it gets the yellow-hued S-badge. Above all, it jives well with the base design of the new third generation Countryman, which looks really good. And for me, up front, my favourite touch here is its distinct new all-LED headlights. Whilst on styling still, we move down to the side profile where you will see the favourite trim treats the Countryman Cooper SE with a set of tasty two-tone 20-inch wheels with a design that Mini calls windmill spoke. Now towards the rear, you'll find it has a very interesting C-pillar design with a massive glass here. I think it looks really cool, and this is also where you get to clearly see that the Countryman comes with a two-tone paint job. You have the option of speccing the Countryman with either a piano black or silver roof and mirror cap, depending on colorway chosen. But obviously the rear end, the real highlight here is its rear fascia, which looks very nice, very premium, very minimalist, very rugged. You get a set of very nice and very large Mini and Countryman badges here. But clearly the most interesting part here for me is the new full LED taillights that feature some very interesting graphics. Okay, whilst we're still outside, it's worth popping the hood to show you something interesting. Unlike most EV crossovers out there, sadly, the third generation Countryman in electric form does not offer a frunk, but that's not a deal breaker considering when you pop the hood, you will find a very peppy dual motor all-wheel drive setup which generates 308 horsepower and 494 Nm of torque, all of which enables respectably rapid 0 to 100 km/h sprint of just 5.6 seconds and an electronically capped top speed of 180 km/h. Okay, said dual motor setup is juiced by a 66.5 kWh battery pack, which is the same one you'll find in the BMW iX1. On a full charge, Mini says the Countryman Cooper SE can travel up to 432 km based on the WLTP cycle. But what's important here you need to remember is the fact that in the Mini, this battery accepts up to 22 kilowatts AC charging input. That is very, very useful in my opinion. And should you need an even faster charge, it will also accept 130 kilowatts DC input, and doing so will let you recharge the batteries from 10 to 80% in just 30 minutes. Now before we get into detail with the cabin, let me discuss one oxymoron about the Mini Countryman. Well, it's called Mini, but there's nothing mini about the Countryman. But I guess that's a good thing because with the Countryman, you get firstly a powered tailgate. Standard equipment gives you easier and niftier access to the large cavernous boots. As standard, you get 460 litres here, and there's even a 4th floor segment for you to hide small stuff as well as your charging cable. Quite nifty indeed. But should that not be enough, don't worry. There are second row split folding seats, and should you fold them down, you can expand this boot space all the way up to 1,350 litres. In other words, those annual trips to IKEA, this Countryman can handle it. Alright, moving inside to the cabin, and the third generation Mini Countryman's innards, well, there's no other way to put it, it's very, very quirky, but there's some very nice touches to note. Up front, you will find that Mini has somewhat returned back to its original roots by placing this massive 9.4-inch OLED central display. It's round, it's circled, it's very nice, and it offers quite a lot of features because it's powered by the latest Mini operating system 9. There's wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to begin with, plus a whole load of other connected services present on board as standard. right below which you will find a standard equipped wireless charger, very nifty indeed. In between which you will find this control panel that still gives you some physical controls, though I wish they did put the air conditioning control here as well, not in the screen, but never mind. There's still some very nice touches here, namely the retro switch gear for the drive mode selector, for the gear selector, and this very nice turnkey style ignition switch. Okay, now you also notice that there is no traditional meter panel here. Instead, you get a heads-up display, for which I think is very cool, and it's a very nice display. Apart from which, you will also notice something very interesting here, and the fact that the dash as well as the door inserts are not covered in plastics, but they're covered in nice fabric, and it looks very nice indeed, though I cannot imagine how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be to maintain and clean this. Otherwise, other things to note, a very nice crisp sounding Harman Kardon audio suite, and you will also notice that for Malaysia, the Countryman Cooper SE comes equipped with JCW sport seats, and they're wrapped in very plush faux leather. Overall, it looks very nice. One very interesting touch to note here as well, as you can see, you get the new Mini steering wheel. It looks like a 3-spoke steering wheel, but it actually is 2 solid spokes. The third spoke is actually a fabric. So very nice, very quirky, very stylish, and I will argue it looks a lot nicer at night too because of the cabin ambient lighting illumination in the dash. Okay, for those seated in the rear quarter of the cabin, you wouldn't be surprised in noting that, just like the previous generation Countryman, is very spacious, very comfortable. In fact, as I mentioned earlier, this new Countryman has grown a bit in size. Specifically in its wheelbase, it has stretched by 22mm, thus offering even greater legroom. There's decent amount of headroom, and overall it's very comfortable here because it's also laced in very plush faux leather. I will also add that adding to the comfort factor is the presence of both rear aircon vents and 2 USB-C charge ports. And now we move on to the driving part of this review, and unsurprisingly, the Mini Countryman SE isn't a bad thing to drive. Well, a lot of which stems from the fact that it is, after all, underneath a BMW. Like I said earlier, this is very similar to the BMW iX1. They share the same platform, they share the same battery, but apart from design and aesthetics, there are quite some differences to note in the drive dynamics as well. I mean, first and foremost, having Bavarian bones means that it handles quite well. This is a car that will carve corners for days, and feels really good when you throw it in the bends like this. So it's sharp, it handles well, but I will note the ride is a little bit hard. It's a little bit bumpy, but don't get me wrong, it is not harsh. There's enough damping going on to soften things up to make it pleasant for the daily. I will add that there's only just a slight hint of tire roar and wind noise, especially if you hit higher than average highway speeds. Now, this may not be the fastest thing in class. I mean, 0 to 100 does take quite a respectably rapid 5.6 seconds, but the good news is, in this Mini, it has all the added novelties to make you feel like you're going really fast, especially if you toggle the drive mode switch into go-kart mode, which even gives you a whooping sound effect, which I'm going to demonstrate to you shortly. But it's not just the whooping sound that makes it all the fun. Okay, let's put it into go-kart mode. Woohoo! But what's so woohoo about it? This sound. I don't know how to describe it, but it sounds straight out of science fiction, and it does make this Mini Countryman Cooper SE feel as if it's a bit like a spaceship. Well, sci-fi fans, Star Wars fans, you could have your own little Millennium Falcon or Starship Enterprise moment with this. Indeed. Now, typically with any premium electric vehicle, this Mini being no exception to which, it does have everything you need to make it feel like as if it could drive itself. I'm talking about a barrage of active and advanced driver assistance systems, or ADAS features, and well, like I said, this Mini has it all, and it gets to a point where at certain situations the car feels like it can drive itself. But having that is not a deal breaker, indeed, because it just gives you a lot more confidence knowing that this is a very safe premium crossover to drive. I will also add that said ADAS features even include both parking and reverse assistant. So yes, in other words, this premium crossover can literally park itself and pull it out of parking lots when you want it to. And there you have it, folks, the Mini Countryman in all-electric Countryman Cooper SE form. There's indeed a lot to like about this car with just a little bit to loathe, but overall, stylish, quirky, practical, fun to drive, very versatile. This is indeed quite the car, but be prepared to part ways with a lot of ringgits because it's not a bargain. It starts at 258,888 ringgit, excluding the optional 4-year extended warranty that costs an additional 7,400 ringgit. Don't worry, the base price I mentioned earlier includes an 8-year or 160,000 km EV battery warranty. Well, now you know what I think of this car. I want to know what you think of it. Hit the comments below with your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, visit caricarz.com/news for more.